Morning. Smile. It's us or an interrogation. Come on.
Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm sure the top table needs no introduction, but on the far left is Paul Wilds, the new chairman of Port Vale Football Club. Bob Young of Administrators Begbies Traynor in the centre, and Norman Smurthwaite, who will be the new Chief Exec of Port Vale Football Club and also of Alchemy Investment Group. I'll just hand over to Bob for a short introduction.
Okay, thanks for coming on a nasty wet day to Vale Park. I'm delighted to be able to confirm that as administrators we did sell the club last night to the Alchemy Group, and these guys here are going to spend most of the time this morning talking to you. I'm just doing the intro. We had a great result last night as well, didn't we? And it was a super evening. Everyone was very happy because we completed just before the start of the match yesterday. Then we had a big win, and I think it just shows what a bright future Port Vale has. Last night's just the start of it. These guys I've known for relatively little time, but it's been quite an intense relationship, and I'm very pleased to say that they've done exactly what it says on the tin. When they said they were interested, they were serious. When they said they'd sign heads of terms, they did it on the day they said they'd do it. They gave us a non-refundable deposit on that date, and they completed when they said they would do it. The only slight delay was just getting the Football League clearance, which was nothing to do with us, just the bureaucracy. So I think these guys are going to be very good for Port Vale, and I feel that we leave it in very safe hands. The club starts again with no debt, and I think that should lead to a very bright future. And that was really the problem for the club previously, that it was always trying to service a debt that was too big for the income that it had. Just before I hand over, I would just like to record again my thanks to Stoke City Council for making this possible. Without their funding, I couldn't have traded the club in administration, and I'd like to thank the staff for all their help during, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, during the entire 8 months of the administration, and particularly to Mickey Adams and to the players who've made my job much easier by keeping them near the top of the league all season, which of course has attracted quite a lot of attention and diverted it from me, which is a good thing. Also finally, thanks to Gary Benson, Martin Tideswell from the supporters group. You guys have been really supportive to me throughout this process, and indeed as has Pete Williams, who unfortunately can't be with us today, but you've done a sterling job for the club and assisted me and acted as liaison at times when it was quite difficult between the administrators and the fans when the last deal collapsed. So thank you very much as well. Without further ado, there is a bright future. I will hand over to the new chairman of Port Vale, Paul Wilds.
Morning everyone. I just want to put on record again what I said last night at half time, and thank Bob for everything that Bob's done for the club, and to leave the club in a very good position both on the pitch and off the pitch, which makes it an attractive proposition for us to make the acquisition that we did yesterday. Very excited about the future. There's a lot of things that we have already started to put in place, and a lot of plans that we've started to do over the last few weeks, and we now start, the work starts with earnest. So I think there's a lot to look forward to. We're looking forward to steering the ship away from the rocks that it's been facing for the last few years and away to a brighter future. So I'm very excited to be here. I'd like to thank the supporters for the work, for their commitment, because it's very easy when you look at a business and you look to make an acquisition, you look at its customers and how loyal those customers are, and I think the answer to that was extremely loyal in very, very difficult circumstances. I think that equally applies to the staff that work within the club, the players who were asked to enter into agreements that weren't the agreements that they originally signed up to. Every one of them was willing to do that. Those agreements have now reverted back to their original agreements, which is positive for them and for the club actually. The vast majority of them are performing. So there's a very exciting future ahead, and a future that both myself and Norman are really looking forward to being part of. The club's in a very good place on the field today. I'll be working with Mickey over the next 48 hours to add players to his squad that he wants to bring in. That'll be very exciting. Again, hopefully we'll be making announcements for that in the next 48 hours. But I think for today it's more about what you guys want to ask me rather than what I want to say to you. So I think I'll open up the floor now unless no one wants to say a few words and allow everybody to ask the questions that they want to ask.
What's your first priority then for working one ball? I mean, obviously you've now sealed it, you've now got the keys.
Yeah.
You've talked to us before when you first came.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be the bright future?
Yeah.
What would be the first brick in the wall?
I think the answer to that's multiple bricks actually. There are a fair few things that need to happen in relative short order. Obviously we on the field we're aware there's a transfer window that closes 5 o'clock tomorrow. Mickey may well want to do something in the market and we'll support him with that. So if you're looking for sort of an immediate priority, that's one. And then I think the next brick is the work starts here now about building the foundations that we've already started to build. So there are a lot of things that we'll start doing in relative short order, but a lot of those will start to show the fruitions over a number of months. You'll not see quick wins, because I think what we said here was always it's about planning for the long term rather than the short term. So what we won't be doing is making quick decisions that get the quick win. We'll be sitting down and thinking through how that impacts the long-term future of the football club.
You've been involved in business for many years. This is your first venture into football,
Yeah,
I assume.
yeah,
You tried to go to Darlington, but you saw this as a better project,
Yeah.
is that right?
absolutely. That's not a very good answer for you, is it? But absolutely, it is. I mean, the two projects
You
are
want to expand on it?
Yeah, the two projects are completely different. You know, what this one represents is a massive opportunity. A club with zero debt, a club with playing very well in the league that they're in, potential for promotion, and all of the success that brings with it, and a wonderful facility that we now own with no debt on it. So it's a completely different proposition and an attractive one. You're right when you say we haven't been involved in football before. Other than the footballing side of it, the rest of it is just a business, and everything that we can do with that we have done many times before. We're talking here about a hospitality business at the end of the day is what it actually is, and an entertainment business, and we've worked in both those fields before. So the business side of it doesn't worry us at all, and in fact that's the bit that we're looking forward to tackling. The footballing side of it's really Mickey's area, and that's what Mickey will be has worked miracles on so far, and hopefully with a little bit of support from us, he can continue to do the good work that he's been doing over the last few months.
But you'll know as on the outside looking in, football now has expanded into the business sector, if you want
Yeah.
to use that terminology.
Yeah.
A lot of people now really see that it's a dual sword, that people who come into it like yourself and like Norman,
Yeah.
that they do have that experience as a business acumen, but you've also got to draw on other people's experience, and probably people here that can do that, isn't it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, again, financial fair play is coming into football and will start to come into football. We're under no illusions about that. We had a very long conversation with the Football League about that exact point, and their ambitions for what they want football to look and feel like. And business plays a big part in that. What they're not going to have anymore is football clubs funded by owners by way of loans. That was something that they're not prepared to have, and I fully support that. And also they're not prepared to have football clubs losing money year in, year out. That's not what they want either. So what this is about is building a sustainable business, and that's what we'll be looking to do over the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years, making sure that the business is sustainable, and that's about bringing additional revenues into the football club which support the on-field activities of the football business. And then when you look at it really as a business, your competitors being the same people in your division, if you have more revenue, therefore you're allowed a higher playing budget, therefore everything being equal should mean that you're doing better than your competition. And that really is the challenge, but that again is why football's such an attractive thing. It always doesn't mean that that's always a recipe for success, but we can certainly try.
You'll be aware today that Roberto Di Matteo's got the sack after a successul period of winning the European Champions
I've
League
seen that this morning.
and the FA Cup. And obviously Chelsea have got rid of 9 managers in the space of 8 years. Obviously they've won 11 trophies. Maybe Abramovich has got probably a lot more money than he can do that. But you don't see this as a toy, do you? Because he certainly appears to.
I mean, I can't speak for Roman Abramovich. I mean, I think he's done a lot for Chelsea as well on the flip side. But I think, you know, absolutely not. This is a business first and foremost, and it has to be successful both on the field and off the field. The off-the-field activities are the stuff that we have to take it forward with, and that's where we'll be able to bring additional revenues into the football club, which will then allow us to invest more into the footballing side of the business, but still working within the parameters of it being successful.
Keep using that word business, Paul. That's obviously your area of expertise. How important do you feel it is that Mickey Adams has pretty much total control of the footballing side of things?
I think in terms of the coaching and the managing of the footballers, that's completely Mickey's domain. Where this football club is now, and where every football club is moving towards, is financial fair play, which means that a football club has to operate within certain restrictions, and those are financial restrictions. And what I think is important to say is that Mickey will be working within a budget that's set by the club. Now that's dictated by the revenues that the club have. The Football League say you can only spend 55% of your revenue on playing budgets. And obviously that's a simple mathematical calculation. When you put your budget together, then that's the maximum you can possibly spend. Mickey's aware of that and will be working within that. Now the bit that you look at it and say, is this an attractive business, is you're saying, well, will our playing budget be higher than our competition? Well, the answer to that surely is yes. We have zero debt. We own our own stadium. We have more supporters than most of the clubs in this division. So therefore, everything being equal, you would assume that our playing budget can be higher than theirs, and therefore you would expect that success follows that. And that's certainly been the case during the start of this season, and hopefully will continue to be the case moving towards the end of the season.
Bob said to us on the radio last night that in terms of financial health, this club's probably in the top 3 or 4 in the bottom 2 tiers of the Football League, so surely that can stem the club forward on the field too.
Absolutely, and I think that the other thing to say is, yes, today it's in very, very strong state financially, but there's much more we can do. When you look at this business, the potential within it, which is the stuff that we haven't tapped into yet, will mean that we can take the club onto another level. And that's where I said a long time at the first press conference that this club could be a championship club. It could be, because if we get everything right, and that isn't in the next 2 seasons, but that is over a period of time, you can say, well, there is potential here that we can say that this club can have a playing budget that will be competitive at the top end of League One. If you're at the top end of League One, there's an opportunity at some point that you can be promoted into the Championship. And I think that's something that, you know, as a business you've got to look at and say that has to be the ambition. But those things come from increasing the revenues off the field. Without that increased revenue off the field, your playing budget is automatically restricted. And that's something that we'll be working on over the next few months to make sure that we are looking to how we can increase that off-field activities.
How much day-to-day involvement are you going to have, Paul, or will Norman be here most days and you'll come a few days a week? How will that work?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think your analysis is right. Both myself and Norman in the short term will be here most days. I think in the longer term we'll be here again still most days, but not every single day. We've appointed a board of directors, which you saw on the press release, who will be here every day, making sure that the club is being run in the way that we hope it can be.
Just one other question about the team, in the sense that if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, obviously the team has done pretty well so far. You're not envisaging a glut of players coming in.
I'm not. I mean, I've got a telephone call with Mickey later on this morning, you know, and we'll be guided by Mickey on that. That really is something that I do want to stress, is that player acquisitions is Mickey's domain, and Mickey knows his players better than anybody else, and he'll know what he needs, he'll know what balance of his squad he wants to have, and he'll also know what harmony he wants to create within the dressing room. You know, clearly they've been successful this season so far, so would I expect Mickey to come with a list of 20 players? No, I absolutely wouldn't, but would I expect him to want to add what can be a depleted squad with suspensions and injuries? Then I think the answer to that is yes as well.
There's a few going spare at Chelsea, apparently.
I didn't know where that question was going before, but
Norman, if I could just ask you a question. You've been here pretty much every day over the last few weeks. What's your job kind of involved, and what have you made of what you've seen of the club so far?
Half an hour ago I was fixing this projector because it wasn't working. That was my first job as I came in officially today. I want people to understand the fact is that we are in a very good place. We are financially in a good place in relation to our peers within this division and the one above us. But we are hamstrung in the position that they're not. We are in intensive care as far as the Football League is concerned. We have compliance requirements which they don't have. So to make a wild statement that we're going to throw money at this, we can't. We're actually in the the fair play structure by default. So if this could end up being the template, be it at a low level, and what's going to happen in the future. This business is split into two. We have the commercial activities and we have the playing activities. And in the past, people have bought clubs like this as a Gucci handbag. They've basically seen it as a toy. I've come out of retirement and I don't have toys like that. I've never played golf, I'm very bored. So this to me is a job in itself, but a job which brings a lot of fun. Last night was great. You can't buy that. I don't know if any of you ever have that privilege to actually stand and have 4,000 or 5,000 people, most of them chanting in our favour. That is something you can't buy. Now, as long as we continue doing what's right off the pitch, and Mickey continues doing what's right on the pitch, and I think that's a great marriage for us all. But there are a lot of things wrong here. And it would be wrong of, I mean, when I came to look at this club, when Paul said we'd been approached by Bob to come and have a look at it in the first instance, the first place I went to was the toilets. If you ever go to a restaurant, the first thing you should do is go to the toilets before you eat there. It's a rule of thumb. And you'll understand the establishment that you're eating in. So I took the view of coming to have a look at the establishment that I'd be sitting in. And for those of you who are in the Low-Witch area, so I don't have to explain to you what they are. That are even toilets and not fit for purpose. And that's the starting. But we won't get thanked for putting these toilets in there because that's something that you'd expect as part of common decency. But there's lots of things that we will put right to actually make the experience of people coming here better. I said yesterday, and I'm a great believer on 2 points. If there's a fan who knows another fan who, for whatever reason, has chosen not to come here, I want that person to convince him or her to come back. That gives us a chance then to give them the matchday experience and demonstrate that what we're here to do. And once we're able to demonstrate, that person who comes back will then be able to speak to somebody else and comes back. I'm sure the other club in the city has got a lot of disaffected fans for whatever reason, and some of them may have actually been here. I want them coming back, hopefully in the right attire, but I want them coming back. My wife was criticised for wearing a red scarf last night. She won't make that mistake again. I want those people coming back because they come back. Every pound that this club generates will go back into the club. There's no debt and there's no non-essential salaries here. Paul and I are taking no money from this business. There's no egos here. We're here to deliver a service and to deliver a business we will be proud of. We are custodians of this business from last night. There will come a point in the future when we will be leaving this club. He said 10 or 15 years. Just look at my hair, okay? I'm 52. That would make me 67. You can't add up. But there will come a point when we leave, and I assure you that when we leave this club, they'll be in a much better place than when we came. And that's the target, and that's the goal. We can't do it overnight, and there'll be impatient people wanting results. Well, thankfully for us, we're in a good place in the division as it is, and we'll hopefully maintain that. I have my own views about the playoffs or automatic promotion from a financial point of view, but I'm sure the fans won't share that with me. But from a point of view of delivering service, we have a customer base which has been alienated beyond belief. I cannot think of any other business where you would continue to treat people so badly that they keep coming back. So if we start putting things right, and a lot of them are simple things, how a steward speaks to somebody in the ground. I actually had an issue myself yesterday, and I've just bought the club because he didn't know who I was. Unfortunately, I had to tell him who I was, so I failed. But we have, from the minute we start of customer focusing in this business, we want to bring people here. I want to see loads of ladies here. I know there's not many ladies using the place because the toilet rolls are not being touched, unless they're going for a pee and not using them. Okay? It's silly things. Okay? I want children in this stadium. I want the stadium full. It'll cut down the heating cost if nothing else. You know, let's be thinking about from the point of view, this is a community area. This is a community business. Beyond the football, there's other areas that we're going to bring activities into here, and the MP and all the other councils, I'm sure, will get very excited, because in the short term there'll be a bit of good news for Stoke. Because I don't live in Stoke. Before I came to look at Port Vale, all I saw about Stoke was bad news. If you're an outsider of Stoke and you're looking at the media, the television, and the radio and or more of the papers, it's nothing but bad news. That's all you get about Stoke. Now this is the situation for this area we've got to turn around. We're going to give opportunities for kids up to 25 to come into a training environment with the intention of actually getting out and getting a job. So this football club is going to expand just beyond football. I'd like to see this. If you look at this building, I've been to some stadiums now in my capacity representing this club at this time. Okay, and I've been to some interesting places. If anybody ever questions the quality of the stadium, I'll be very disappointed if I put that mark on it. I've been to some real interesting venues. We have a jewel in the crown here, which is massively under-resourced. This will be the centre of excellence for Stoke, and that is one of the targets in what we do. It will deliver centre of excellence. We'll have kids coming through here who go up to do better things. Nobody can be a Rob, there's only one Robbie Williams, and he's remembered for the one. But there's loads of kids who'd like to do something with their life instead of just sitting here on the dole. And we've got an opportunity, beyond the footballing aspect, to extend that to the community, to deliver something which is clearly lacking here. We have a massive resource. I said to your colleague a few weeks ago, I couldn't believe how cheap it was, which is a terrible thing to say, but I couldn't believe how little this business was considered to be worth. When you look at the amount, you couldn't build the stadium for that. You couldn't build you could only build a couple of stands for what we paid for it. So we're in a great place. We've got no debt, we've got a great camaraderie on the pitch, and we've got a great camaraderie spirit with the staff off the pitch. One of the things that attracted me to come out of retirement, I was on the beach when he was doing his last I was in the sun, which is fading, and I don't like this weather, I'll be honest with you. I've come back to work because this is a challenge that I want. This is getting me out of bed in the morning. My wife's not best pleased about that, I may add, but I'm here. I'm living locally, and when our business is down the road, I'm here in the week, and I'm even considering buying a house out in the Shropshire area so I can be here within 20 minutes. I'm committed. I'm up for it. I want the supporters to be up for giving us what we deserve when we deserve it, but I want their support in getting more bums on seats. They give us the bums. I want them to drink our beer, eat our pies. The most frustrating thing for me when I drive to this club is that the pubs at the bottom of that hill are bulging beyond belief of our fans. There's people making more money out of this club than the club itself. We've got to change that. We will give them the opportunity to drink our beer and eat our pies in relatively competitive prices and in comfortable surroundings. And if we can't get that right, then there's something seriously wrong, full stop.
Do you see why I said these guys seem to me to be the right guys for the job? And just to answer one point you've raised...
Sorry about the price.
Yeah, cut that. One point you raised about getting the ladies in, this is why we invested in the pink shirts. And
well, my daughter wants one of those.
But you should have seen Mickey's face the day we told him they were playing in pink.
The other point I want to mention, which is important, we've acknowledged already the official supporters club role. If you're going to have a protest, you have a protest in volume. I will not respond to people shouting at me obscenities from the stadium, but I will respond to them coming through the correct channel. And I would say to anybody who's actually a fan of this club but not a member of that club, as far as the supporters participation, you should join that vehicle, because then you have a group of people where we will listen to. We won't listen to you individually because the system just won't allow it. But you've got two intelligent people though. Where are you, Gary? I didn't recognise you on Saturday with your suit and tie on. But as a rule, two intelligent guys representing that body, and that's where fans, that's the route that we will listen to. No other forum will get our attention other than that one. So if you're not a member of that, you should be. And that's my stance. We will listen. If we have got it wrong, we will endeavour to put it right. I've already had, there's so many things which are broken here, but they're all stupid things. The hand dryer and the toilet just down the road, nothing worse than spending whatever you spent to in eats and go for a pee, you have to wipe your hands on your backside to go back into the room again. An easy fix of 100. It's stupid thing, but the list is very long. But nobody's going to thank you for fixing an electric hand dryer in the toilets. But that's what the toilets and the railway, absolutely. My first job, on Saturday, I got contractors in before the game. I'm suited up. I'm in those toilets showing contractors who come from Liverpool, I may add, which is interesting in itself, because they were the cheapest people from a quotation. I wanted to see the old whites of these people's eyes to make sure they were genuine, and it wasn't the phantom quote. Here I am, just before the match, getting the guys in, and there's Speedy saying, oh my God, getting all excited because they wasn't. That's what you've got to do with a business. You've got to get your hands dirty, not literally, hopefully, but you've got to get your hands dirty. This place needs it. It needs that kind of commitment to take it from the floor up.
Norman, how important is it to have round pegs in round holes and continuity?
I've never considered myself in a round peg and a round hole, I'll be honest with you, but that's a personal view. I never understand that analogy because I've never been. I'm unemployable. We sometimes talk as I when we should mean we. Okay, we do apologise in advance if that comes across, because we are our own men. We've only recently started to come together to work together because of our own backgrounds and disciplines. I'm a great believer that a person will demonstrate their value to me in what it is that they do. not by what they say. I've heard lots of people talking great stories over the years, and when it comes to when they deliver, they just don't. We have problems here, and most of the staff here, or in fact all the staff that I've met, I haven't met everyone, I'll be honest with you, but all the staff that I've met, to me so far, are up for the challenge. That was one of the things that made it so easy for me to actually be prepared to come out and put myself in this spotlight, which I've never been before, because the people who are here, the staff, the people who really have been forgotten. You know, because this has been a difficult place for several months. And people, you know, they'll all have their reasons to bitch and gripe, but the staff here have done a tremendous job in the difficult circumstances. And that's not just Mickey and the squad, that's all the way down to the guy who opens the door on match day. You know, there's a lot here which is good, more good than bad, great foundation. If I was a builder, and I'd got this as the foundation to build a house on, I would have no worries of thinking about it going to sink. This is a great place. It gives me so much comfort when I come in. We will work together as a team, although we have to have a structure for the purposes of identity. We are a team. We all work with each other. We don't work for each other, apart from me working for Port, of course. But we have a structure here, and we have it's already, the people here are up for it. It's great. It makes our job so much easier, because they're up for it. You know, I get enthused, it takes me, the most troubling thing, it wasn't selling the money. That wasn't the problem for me. Could I actually do the job? And I can, and I'm up for it, and I'm ready for it.
But football is infectious, you know that. You said to me.
Yes, it is. I'm a Sunderland supporter, so you've got that on record. That's why I would never have done the Darlington deal, but that's because my family would have shown me. Okay, so that's on record as well. I wouldn't have been working in anything, and that in itself is fraught with difficulties. It is infectious, but if you're competitive in what it is that you do, you know, it's to come here. I was actually, to look at this, the performance aspect, I mean, I'm trying to think of the most disappointing day. The most disappointing day for me was Northampton, if I'll be honest with you, for lots of reasons. Not only for the game, but for that poor kid who broke his leg. Because you now have that, like last night, that kid was carried off, and you're thinking, oh my God, is that somebody's career ending? And that's something you have to think about, especially if it's one of your own kids. You're thinking, you know, forget the financial implications, just what's that man's pain? You know, what's he going to go? You have to look at that in a different way than, that's just cost me X. Because that's part of what grabs you. Not just the football, it's actually like a parental responsibility. And it is that, it's the kids. You know, this is the first business I've ever been in when I'm the oldest person on the team. I used to be the young kid on the block. I'm now the old fart, you know, in relation to things, which is why 15 to 17 years kind of makes it look. But the footballing aspect of it is the good bit. It's what gives you the buzz. Okay?
You got the buzz.
I've got it. I'm up for it. I've got a scarf. I've left it. Sorry. I had a fan knit me a couple of scarves, and it goes with me everywhere. It's actually here today. Sorry, I should have this. I'm up for it. Okay? But we're not a miracle maker. But there are so many things here which are right. There's more right than wrong. Because if there wasn't, if this was a polished product, we wouldn't have bought it. What value could we add to it? We're not even football people. But most of the things which are broken here have got nothing to do with football. But the football will benefit because of it. Every penny we bring into this club will go back indirectly into the playing staff of the club. It's that simple. No clever business plan here. You get more pies and pints down here, that money, the profit from that, or the turn, will go back into the plane. That's it. So come up from the pubs down the road, come up here, drink our beer, eat our pies, sit in our seats. Some of them are not fit to sit in them, admittedly, and we will make sure that that money comes straight back into the club. End of. Nobody can ever criticise our business plan.
Right, I know many of you want to do one-to-ones, so is there one final question before we move on? No?